Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the ShabinLife. So it is another beautiful day here on the mountain, and I'm gonna try and keep this video short and sweet. So Dayna and I have been doing some odd projects outside, working on the future garden, taking down trees, doing a lot more clearing. But about maybe a month or so ago, I noticed that our batteries were having trouble. They were struggling through the night, mostly with the refrigerator. If it was like one of those really hot, like 70-degree nights, the refrigerator was running a little more often, and I'd wake up to the inverter low battery alarm. And it seems like it's happened a little bit more and more the past week or so. Well, like a month or so ago when this started happening, I just so happened to catch a break on a Renogy anniversary sale, and I think it was around like 30% off anything on their site. So we weren't planning on it, but Dayna and I wound up making a pretty large purchase of two new 12-volt 100 amp hour LiFePO batteries, lithium iron phosphate batteries, and we haven't installed them yet, which is what I'm going to do real quick this morning. But we did pick them up for they're about $1,000, and I think we paid $700. So it was still expensive and definitely not an expenditure I think either one of us was expecting to put out, especially with wanting to put more of the money like that into the solar for the house. But it is what it is. The batteries that we have in our system are about 5 years old, and they have definitely been cycled down low and cycled many times. So as far as I'm concerned, they're just deep cycle Costco batteries that have definitely done their job. And we're hoping, since we'll be doubling the amount of amp hours with these new LiFePO batteries, that we won't experience as many issues as we may have had in the past. Not that we had a ton of issues, but obviously it's summer now, so the sun is blazing. It's bright out all day long, so typically we don't have any problems with solar. Like I said, up until recently, with this stuff starting to happen, we could pretty much run anything we wanted, charge as many computers, laptops, tablets, phones as we wanted without having any issues. But I started to notice some finicky stuff, like I said, about a month or two ago, and then it just has gotten a little bit weirder. So I'm going to put the two new LiFePO batteries from Renogy in this morning, and we'll kind of see how that goes. But it's really tough in that corner for you guys to see what's going on back here in the Shabin, so maybe I'll just take a picture real quick or something so you can see. So we'll take you inside and we'll get rocking and rolling. For those of you who may not have seen the solar install video or any of the talk on solar before, there's a battery box down there with two 12-volt batteries in there. The inverter is mounted to the top, and then this is the charge controller up here with the disconnects. These are the new Renogy LiFePO batteries. They're, I believe right now they're sitting in shelf mode, which basically drops them so that they can kind of be stored for a long time. And then you just use this little RJ45 clip in a data port to actually turn it from shelf mode into active. But I think we'll hook them up in shelf mode, and then we'll plug that in and turn them active before we switch everything on. But before we get started, I'm going to basically unplug and turn everything off, and then I'll basically come over to my little control board here, and we'll we'll disconnect power to the solar panels, and then we'll disconnect power to the inverter, and then basically we'll come down here and we'll start disconnecting all the stuff in the battery box and getting the new batteries installed. But I think I'm just going to set the camera up or take a few pictures, and then I'll bring you guys back when it's all done. Nothing too crazy, just a few bolts and a few wires.
You want something to put them on?
So that's the batteries all reconnected. You have the two inverter cables. The positive comes from this fuse, the fuse blade. So that's your positive and negative for your inverter, and then these are your cables to put the two batteries in parallel, and then these are the two charge control cables, your negative and your positive. And then this is just a temperature probe that I leave down here, but everything pretty much stays copacetic. So essentially what happens is this little connector plugs into either one of the ports in the uplink port of the battery, and then there's a little button on top that's a power button. Now what it says is that the batteries are shipped from the factory in shelf mode. When I plug this in, there'll be a very dull or dim blue light, and if I were to press the power button, that blue light should become more prominent. It would be great if that changed to like green, but ultimately that's to show you that you came out of shelf mode and into active mode. So before we do that, let's just throw the meter on there real quick and see what we're reading. So one battery reads 13.2. The other battery also reads 13.2. So I'm wondering if they came out of shelf mode once I connected them to the once I actually connected something to them. So 13.3, 13.2, 13.3, 13.2. So let's see what happens when we plug the battery switch in. So that seems to me like a much brighter light than the very first time I plugged it in, which makes me think it already switched itself from shelf mode into active mode. Otherwise, that would be a very dim blue light. So I assume that we are back up and running to full mode. I don't actually need to switch this. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I can leave this connected, or I can disconnect it and only use it when I need to put this back in shelf mode. All right, now that all the batteries are hooked back up and everything's connected, let's go ahead and turn these breakers back on. So this first breaker is going to be for the batteries. I might have said inverter before. I meant it was the disconnect for the battery. So let's get that started first. So it's good that didn't pop. Now the only thing I want to make sure of that I'm going to have to go back to is checking to see what battery the charge controller set for. It should be an auto select, but it was on flooded lead acid battery, so now it needs to be on the LiFePO battery. So I may need to go back and reset that, but otherwise we got our voltage reading up there at 13.2, which is great. And then the only thing that's really left to do is to start bringing these bad boys some power. So let's go ahead and throw the solar. So what's going to happen is you're going to see this arrow up here start to show that the solar is coming in from the panels, or power is coming in from the panels. There it goes. So 13.3. And I mean, the sun's not really blazing right now, but I'm sure we're going to get up into that 14.4, 14.5 within the next hour. So we'll keep an eye on it, but so far so good. Now I just need to go back and check a few settings, but that wasn't too bad. Nice and quick, super fast. Hopefully we don't have any more low power problems at nighttime. And obviously this will be huge for us during the winter. Like I said, we upped our amp hours by double, so it should really help us get through some of those darker days. But all in all, not bad. Another project done for today. Now to go do something that probably takes way more effort. Hey, good morning, guys. So I installed those batteries yesterday. I swapped those batteries out in the system yesterday, and I thought I'd just do a fast update. So it's about maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock the following morning. Dayna and I are just kind of sitting down and having some coffee right now. But I thought I'd show you when I got up this morning. I was pretty stoked. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can. But the solar's reading 13.2. So it literally hasn't moved since yesterday, pretty much when we installed the batteries. And I assure you, if that was the other batteries this morning, first of all, I probably would have had to turn everything off throughout the night because of that low battery alarm on the inverter. But even if I did make it through the night, I probably would have a low battery blinking light, and I would be somewhere in like 11.1, 11.5. So the fact that we went to bed last night and it was 13.2, and then I got up this morning to no lights on, no alarms beeping, and I just took the flashlight and checked the voltage and it said 13.2. I actually thought something was wrong. So pretty happy so far, and we'll keep you guys updated in regards to the actual batteries themselves, but pretty stoked with just one night so far to kind of see that battery staying strong. So all is good, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.